growing up in Saskatchewan, you kind of are connected. I'm connected to a subculture. My great grandfather was a cowboy, and my grandfather was a pickup man in the rodeo. My dad roped calves. My brother's a professional calf roper. And when it was sort of my turn to choose my rodeo events, I decided to be a bull rider at a young age, and that lasted about 3 or 4 bucks and one concussion. And I figured I'd just move on to writing about it. And it was sort of a full circle thing. I always had that influence of cowboy lifestyle, rodeo culture. And I had a rock band through the late 90s and into the early 2000s. And once it kind of fizzled away and was done, it was nice to sort of get back to, what I grew up with. And I couldn't rodeo like my dad did or my grandfather did, but I felt that I could represent the lifestyle. And sort of that was the first approach to the genre, was representing the rodeo lifestyle as best I could. My influences, I guess, early started with Beck and Trent Reznor. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. I was a big Beck fan. I still am a big Beck fan. And as I moved into the genre, into the country writing and whatnot, I actually discovered Chris Christopherson at a very late age. But he's lyrically perfect. Everything he's ever done is just kind of like the B sides or hits. So I went into a big study of Christopherson, and that sort of opened doors to Willie. And very recently, we've been emulating Waylon's sound more than anything, I guess, in this moment in our careers. But it's, I hate the word outlaw, but it's influenced by that outlaw movement. Everybody kind of doing things on their own terms with their own sound and representing what they want to represent as best they can. So, yeah, the classics, Chris and Willie and Waylon, and huge Ian Tyson fans. So, yeah. This song was actually written out of boredom, writing about myself and writing about relationships and writing about, things going wrong. So I looked into a little more American history. There was land reclamation going on in the late 1800s where the railway was coming through, taking people's land, and kind of the rest is history. Jesse James got back from the Civil War and they took his lands, and he had his vengeance on the railway. So High Water Hell initially started with that concept. And I've received this comment before about how it sort of has evolved to land ownership with the oil movement, and land ownership, in many different movements right now. But, speaking of oil, it's really strange because where I come from, oil is what's keeping people working and keeping kids' mouths fed, because all my friends work in the patch. And they're good guys that are just getting up in the morning, working their ass off all day long, going to bed. But then there's this other side of the industry that's it's disgusting.
Live from Studio A at the Canterbury Music Company, Blake Berglund and the Vultures.
30 nails in a weathered hand, I'm broken back from breaking land. We'll never rise if we never stand, let alone being pushed away. Give up the quarter if they ask you to, you ought to really know what's good for you. Say the railroad is coming through, and dirty money always gets its way. I got a gold plated rifle that defended your right to pass that letter to me. And as civil as the title in the war it was used, that's the furthest this is gonna be. And B is clear as my last name written on the paper held in your hand. Get off my land. The day that I signed to sell, come high water or hell. I got nothing but dirt and love that I'll defend with my very blood. I'm a man of Jesus and it ain't gonna flood, let alone a storm come through. Say I'm lucky for the price you give, be lucky if you outlive the grief-stricken parents that you're gonna have. Son, I buried younger than you. I got an old plain rifle that defended your right to pass that letter to me. And as civil as the title in the war it was used, that's the furthest this is gonna be. Let me be as clear as the last name written on the paper held in your hand. Get off my land. The day that I signed to sell, come high water. Paper held in your hand, get off my land. The day that I signed to sell, come high water.
So to take a stance on oil, I mean, tell you what I burnt is diesel fuel to get out here and to do projects like this. So, I mean, if I could take a political stance on it, I think that farmers, long haul truck drivers, and musicians should be subsidized for their gasoline and diesel oil purchases. Other than that, I mean, people are just trying to make a living. My vultures are history with everybody. I played festivals very early on with Steve, our drummer. I guess before anything, I've gone through 42 or 43 band members since I started this, solo career aside from the rock projects. And once we got this lineup in a room, I think we put 150, 170 dates under our belt with the four of us. So Steve I met playing festivals with. Bryce I met over Twitter. Last minute we had a guitarist pull out of a rodeo cabaret, and I put literally on my Twitter, we need someone in 4 days, and he answered and saying, yeah, I can totally do this. So I was like, well, can you play the guitar? Yeah, I can play the guitar. Do you have anything online I can listen to? No, but you can play. Yes, I can play, he says. And he showed up and totally killed it without any rehearsals or anything. And then JR I met when I lived in Medicine Hat. We worked at a golf course together. And for a long period, for about 2 or 3 years, he was my lead guitarist. And then once we found Bryce, JR just kind of moved over to the bass and started playing his old man's PV rig. And it just sort of solidified the sound and the lineup that we have now. Before anything else, I guess, there's great Western swing artists like Bob Wills, and it actually came from a place of, George Strait influence. I grew up on George Strait, and he would always have, great mainstream radio hits, and then he would have cool backbeat songs, then he'd have a wild Texas influence, and then he'd have this Western swing thing that he always incorporated in. And Shotgun Gypsy Coon was written, about 4 years ago when I was sort of just getting into Western swing. And we evolved the song as a band. There are parts in the performance of it now that almost have like an R&B feel a little bit behind it. So it's a hybrid of a few different styles. And as far as recording more Western swing, yes, 100%, absolutely. We have songs written that are Western swing. We have songs that are being developed that are Western swing. We have a project in our back pocket that's just going to be a total album of Western swing. So yeah, we're gonna hit that full very, very quickly.
Baby with a hand and braid strands, bangs held back by woven a strap of leather I tucked while toggle lily by the side of your face. Sitting with feet on the dash, oh, the miles fly by when we're driving then together. Baby, I'm feeling the need to maybe move to the back. Oh, the first turn off that we see, turned on as we can be. I'm your diesel driving daddy, I'm a shotgun gypsy queen, yeah. Bangles, bracelets, rings across the floor and throwing undergarments on my back row beauty. I love you this way. A long stretch of dangerous curves, I need a runaway around, slow me down on your shoulder. Let's be the roadside attraction for the day. I can't afford a 5-minute drive, seem to take an entire night. I'm a diesel driving daddy, I'm a shotgun gypsy queen, yeah. Run, Okanagan, and outlaw, Saskatchewan, son. Your diesel driving daddy, you're the prettiest ever to see, yeah. Well, I'm your diesel driving daddy, you're my shotgun gypsy queen.
There was a beer company that was interested in recording a Canadian band live off the floor and putting it in cases of beer. They went to the Legion. The Legion said, Ken Kosminski, who's just a beauty of a guy, was like, yeah, I have the boys that will be perfect for this project. So we kind of lined everything up, moving closer to the dates. I guess as corporations kind of do, they pull further and further away from their words, and marketing funds were put in other directions. So we were in this position where, like, well, do we just kind of shut the project down with 3 weeks notice, or do we power through? So we took it on independently, headed up to Jasper, and it was rowdy. They have such a great appreciation for culture up there, but it's still the Wild West. It's beer drinking and buckaroos up there. So our crowd was really cool. It was a bunch of cowboys and old boys and young dancing people that were drinking their faces off that night. So it turned the Jasper Legion, it's become known as a place of live music and culture, and we turned it into a honky tonk that night, and it turned out awesome in the recording. We captured the energy. The project was just going to fly under the radar, but we started to get some good reviews back, so we've put the reins on the horse again and are pushing it pretty hard right now. We needed a van, and I won a bid online through the government of Saskatchewan with vehicles that they just put up for silent auction. I won the bid, but I didn't have the money to win the bid, and I called my dad and I'm like, I need $4,000 right now. And he was like, okay, this is what it's for, you got to pay me back. And we had our deal set. The evolution of their support was just, it's become amazing. If there's a show within a 500-kilometer radius, they're at it. So I mean, I've had a lot of help from many different people, everything from Creative Saskatchewan to Sask Music to different groups that their sole focus is to help artists. But what trumps them all is my mom and dad, for sure. The pretty good guy is Michael Dunn. Mike is from Edmonton. He's a purveyor of the arts. He's a purveyor of twang. He knows good music when he hears it. We were playing it was the Jasper, well, it was the weekend that we recorded the live album in Jasper. We also played the rodeo. And this elusive figure was standing at the back of the rodeo, cabaret, cowboy hat on. And, you always connect with somebody at the show. And he was kind of like my connection. I was like, who is this guy? And, you could see that he's digesting what's happening and the lyrical content and almost critiquing the performance. And he stayed right up until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then approached us, and he had a guitar in hand, and he's a traveler and a songwriter in his own right. And yeah, he spent the night in the hotel. We broke into a hot tub and everybody took their clothes off and jumped in a hot tub, and it was just a great night in Jasper. I mean, I'm probably making this sound a little more intense and risque than it actually was, but a lot of beers have always been had with Mike. He drove me from Edmonton to Vancouver when I was touring with Del Barber. He just always steps to the plate, so the least a guy can give him is a song.
He's addicted to pinball like cocaine. Dabble with the latter just the same. He's gone and cheated on a couple of his lovers, and he never tells the cops his real name. So they call him boss or also handsome, and he'll never pass a chance to get high. You can always judge a band by their covers. Bet your ass he's a pretty good guy. Straight to 6 night shifts through weekends, represent a working man's voice. Pseudo metal punk rock loving outlaw, and you're goddamn right, it's a mama's boy by choice. Be it hours or days of a distance, always get you out of a bind. You can always judge a man by his mother. Bet your ass he's a pretty good guy. All right. And won't back down once he takes his stand. He can talk himself out of any situation. Oh, sure as hell ain't afraid to fight. You know that your back will be covered. Bet your ass he's a pretty good guy. Yeah, never get between a man and his lover. Bet your ass he's a friggin' land. We'll never rise if we never stand, let alone being pushed away. Give up the quarter if they ask you to. You ought to really know what's good for you. Say the railroad is coming through, and dirty money always gets its way. I got a gold-plated rifle that defended your right to pass that letter to me. And as civil as the title in the war it was used, that's the furthest this is gonna be. And to be as clear as my last name written on the paper held in your hand. Get off my land. The day that I signed to sell, come high water.